Welcome back guys to another video here in the off-grid garage. Well, this is actually take 2 of the whole video because, well, I stuffed up yesterday. I had everything already recorded yesterday and I had the computer running as well to take some screen recording because we are doing some work on the computer today. And I turned off the computer afterwards and I forgot to stop the recording. So it corrupted my screen recording file with all the important stuff. Yeah, well, then I thought last night, well, just do the bits again, which didn't work. I wouldn't need to Frankenstein everything together, it's just too much work. So, delete, start from scratch again. Here I am, welcome back to the same video again as yesterday. Well, in today's video I want to talk about the connectivity possibilities you have with the Victron Gear. This was always one of my features I wanted for all my charge controllers, for all my gear I bought ever. I wanted to have something connected to an app, to the internet. I mean, internet connection would be amazing, right? And the SNMP solar charge controller I had before had an app which was like crappy. The JNGE solar charge controller had an app and internet connection, so I could actually control, monitor and adjust the settings on the JNGE solar charge controller from my mobile phone via an app from anywhere, so I didn't need to be in the garage anymore. I mean, you have seen these videos. I have here multiple old mobile phones and tablets running, showing me different screens of all my Victron gear now. But I always need to be in the garage here to monitor and adjust settings. I spend hours and days, weeks. My wife actually has photos of me in her room now, because I'm spending more time here in the garage than in the house. So I want to change this, of course, and here comes the email from Jason again. I mentioned him in one of my earlier videos. He was so kind to send me an email and said, Andy, why don't you use a Raspberry Pi mini computer to hook this all up to your Victron Gear, and then you can monitor everything from your mobile phone. Other people mentioned this before here on the channel. And I looked into it a couple of times and said, yeah, well, you need to code and script and send some commands to the computer. This is all down the track, maybe at some stage. But his email, he said, you don't need to do anything of this. Here are the instructions. Here's your shopping list, what gear you need to buy. Follow these step-by-step procedure and you will have success. And it is super easy. Well, so I took the plunge, and what can I say? I ordered a Raspberry. See, this is why you use so bloody stupid names. Can it not be a coconut pie or a banana pie? No, it must be a raspberry, which is unspeakable. It is not, you cannot pronounce this correctly without spitting on the lens. Okay, we call it now the Raspi. So here is pretty much everything you need. So here's our Raspi mini computer. I've shown you this one before if you haven't seen it. So this is my mobile phone and this is the computer. This is how small it is. Look at this. That's insane, right? Has some USB ports here, a network connection port. If the camera would focus, you could actually see it. There it is. HDMI, you can actually connect a touch display to this one and configure and set everything up via this display. We don't do this today. This is the power supply, which is a USB micro USB port. So this is the standard USB cable port you have on your mobile charger. And this is pretty much it. This is the whole computer. I also bought one of these cases for a few dollars. This is where the computer goes in. And we also need a connection to our Victron Gear, which is the JST male header cable and a USB to serial adapter cable. Here's actually a piece of electronic inside in this plug. On the other end, they are just bare end cables. We will get to this in a minute. And you also need a micro SD card. You can use any. I've got a 64 gig here, 32 gig, I've got a 4 gig and an 8 gig. So what size do you actually need? Well, I did some research on this as well, and the Venus OS, so this is called the Venus operation system, which you can download for free from Victron, is only 1.8 gigabyte big. So people have successfully installed this whole thing on a 2 gigabyte SD card without any problems. This is all you need. There is no information, no data stored on the SD card locally. Everything gets uploaded to the Victron system server in the cloud somewhere. It connects to the Victron VRM portal and pushes all the information from your system onto their portal, so you can read it with your mobile phone or a computer from anywhere. The only time you need a bit of storage on the SD card is if your Raspi goes offline. If you lose internet connection, it stores the information. It stores these information on the SD card, and as soon as the Raspi goes online again, it transfers this information from the SD card back to the VRM portal and deletes the information of the SD card. So this is only temporarily when you need a little bit of space. I read about 20 megabyte per day of data logging. This was 1 gigabyte in 50 days. So if your Raspi is offline for 50 days, you would need an additional 1 gig, which then makes 8 gigabyte per year. So I have chosen to put this onto my crappiest and cheapest SD card I have. This is a 4 gigabyte. It is also a class 4, so it's the slowest I have. And 4 gigabyte is plenty of. This gives me like 100 days without being online, can be stored temporarily on this SD card. So this is where we put the information on. You also need one of these adapters depending on how you can read these SD cards, or how do you put them into your computer. So you can get these adapters here if you have an SD card slot like this. You can get these micro SD adapters. There's the slot where the micro SD card goes in, and here's a USB plug for your computer. I'm using this one here. This is a multi-card reader. It has different slots for different SD cards. And now I can hear all these old farts now watching my videos here saying, oh, I'm not a computer geek. I don't know anything about computers. This is all too far already and blah 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 whatever. Just bear with me. If you have any Victron gear, they all come with this little VE Direct port. It's a white port somewhere, and you probably want to hook this up to the VRM portal so you can control and monitor everything from your mobile phone. You can see the state of charge of your battery, how much power is currently being produced by your solar generators, how much power is going through your inverter at the moment, what current goes into your battery, what current goes back from the battery into the inverter. All the information is there. It's insane. It is so good. So you probably want to have this. And I walk you through on the computer. I do another screen recording, and I hope I don't stuff it up again. I walk you through a step-by-step on the computer. It is super very easy. You just need to download 2 things from the internet. This is what you need to do. There's no coding, no programming. You don't need to learn a new programming language or something, nothing. Everything is already done for you. You just need to put this image on the SD card and it works right out of the box. Okay, let's get started, shall we? Okay, I've got the screen recording running. I put myself in a little picture so you can see what I'm saying. Oh, God, it's a take 3. I'd start again. Alright. I have got my downloads folder open. Under Windows 10, this is the default folder where all your downloads go into. If you are working on a Mac, well, it's your own fault then. Okay, let's get... Wow. Why is this happening? Did you see that? The light wanted to kill me. It wasn't successful. Okay, as I said, we need to download 2 things. We need to download the Venus OS operation system and a small little for free program which puts this information onto the SD card and makes it readable for the Raspi. These are the 2 things we need to download from the internet. Okay, let's get started. Go into Google and type in Win32 disk imager. By the way, all the links are down below, so you don't need to Google, just click on these links. Click on the download button, and we also go back into Google and looking for the Venus OS download, and you will find the Raspberry install Venus image, and you come to the GitHub project website. It gives you a lot of information. So a little bit further down there is the download the latest image, and this link is in the description down below. You see a long list of all the versions they had made for the Raspi computer, and you want to make sure you download the Venus image Raspberry Pi, and then there's the date in it, and the version is 2.65. This is actually a newer version than I am running, so I'm using this one here now. This is the version 2.65. If you watch this video later on, there might be another new version already, so please download the latest version, 2.7, whatever it is, 3 point something. Click on it. It's only 95 megabyte. Doesn't take long to download unless you're on the off-grid garage and you have bad internet connection, because the actual internet is in the house and we are working on a Wi-Fi bridge here. Alright, there it is. We can close our internet connection again, and here in my download folder I've got now the disk imager program and the Venus image for the Pi 2.65. You want to do a double click on this file first, which opens the container, and then you want to drag this image into your download folder. It unpacks now our download zip container, and we can see the actual image we need to put on the SD card. And then we can close the container here again. Alright, and here you can see the download was only 97 megabyte, but the actual image file on the SD card is actually 1.855 gigabyte large. So 2 gigabyte is fine. I'll take a 4 gigabyte for this demonstration here. So the next step would be to install the disk imager. Just double click and then click on the next to install. I just exit it because I already have it installed here. Okay, the next step is to take your USB SD card adapter and put your SD card in this adapter like this, and then we just plug this one into the port of the computer. So very important, if you have any data on your SD card, make sure you back this up before you use this for your Raspberry computer, because it will erase, it will wipe the whole card when it puts the Venus OS onto this SD card. Let's start the disk imager software. Go back in our download folder, and you can see it has already selected my E drive here, which is actually the SD card in my card reader, and it wants to know where the image file is. So we click on this little folder symbol here, and then we go into our download folder, and we cannot see anything because there is a filter set. It is only looking for IMG files at the moment. So if you select this drop down and you select the star.star, it will show you the same information as they are in the download folder. So you now want to select the 1.8 gigabyte file, the original image file. Click on open. This is pretty much it. You don't need to change any other settings in this program. Just go to write. We will get a message writing to the drive E, and you confirm this with yes. And off we go. We will now see a percentage down there. It may take a few minutes depending on the speed of your SD card, and because I used the slowest one, it probably takes about 10 minutes now. So I'll stop the recording here and I'll be back when we are finished. Okay, we have now successfully installed the Venus OS on the SD card. It took 9 minutes and 6 seconds. That's how slow this SD card is. Oh my god. I just want to see if this actually runs from this SD card. So write successful, okay, exit, close this one, and go to your USB, eject the SD card, wait for the confirmation, unplug your SD card controller, take out the SD card, get your Raspi, turn it around, and here at the top, this is your SD card reader. This is where the SD card goes in. It goes in this way. There you go. It still peeks out a little bit, that's fine. Okay, this is the whole installation. Guys, congratulations, you're done. This is all we need to do. This is all you need to do. There's no programming, nothing. The operation system is now on the SD card there, and this is plugged into the Raspberry Pi. As soon as you put power now on the Raspi and connect it to the network, we are fine. Okay, let's do exactly that. I've got a network cable here which goes to my router over there. So I would suggest at the beginning you connect this one to your network. There you go. And also take the micro USB from your mobile phone, for example. Plug this in there. And you can see the red light is coming on already. And there's a green coming on as well. I just dim the lights a little bit here. There's the green light. See how it flickers? So this is like in a computer hard drive now. You can see it's reading the information from the SD card and starting Venus OS as an operation system on the Pi. This is all you need to do. This is how easy it is. It is unbelievable, right? Okay, so let's go back to the computer for a quick moment. Yeah, so with this slow SD card here, it may take a while until this is booted up. If you take one of the faster ones, it will start faster, but it doesn't bother because once it's started, it's done. It's just the very initial startup phase could take a little bit longer, but yeah, I've got time. I've got so much time. Actually, this is the only thing I don't have. Time! Okay, so we go back onto the internet. And here at the very top, where your URL is, you type in venus.local. Make sure your computer from where you do that is on the same network as the Raspi. Otherwise it won't work. They need to be connected somehow to the same system. Well, if you're at home, you've got only one network anyway, so you'll be fine. So venus.local and hit enter. And let's see what's happening. Alright, and after a few seconds, you connect to the remote console. See, this is the website of the Raspberry Pi now, which opens in your browser on your computer. And this is where the magic happens now. Alright, there we go. There we go. We are now logged into the Raspberry Pi from your computer. That's how it works, you know, network in and done. So we can see the schematic here of a potential setup. We've got a battery symbol, a Victron energy, whatever that is, an AC load, an inverter, and an AC input here. And we've got the virtual keys, which are usually available on a color control GX device from Victron Energy. And the Raspberry is actually simulating exactly this device. So you can also use the cursor keys here on your keyboard to go up, down, left, right, and the enter key, space key, and the escape key here. Or you can just use your mouse and use the virtual keys here. So press the enter button, which brings you into the menu. Click on settings. And probably the first thing you want to do is click on the date and time and set your time zone correctly. So I use the cursor key down now to go to Australia, and I'm in Brisbane. GMT plus 10 has the Eastern Australia Standard Time in there, and I can go back and I have already my local time up here. So the next setting is go down, down, down. VRM online portal. This is where you want to go. You want to make sure logging is enabled. You have your VRM portal ID, which we need to connect to the online portal. This is a secret code, passcode, password, whatever you want to call it. Don't show this to anyone, because everyone with this passcode can go into your configuration and change the settings of your configuration. So this is really your secret passcode, generated now by the Raspi, and you need to put this into the VRM portal on the Victron website later on. I'll show you in a second. So you don't need to do anything here. The only thing you want to turn on is the VRM two-way communication, because then you will be able to actually configure and change settings in your charge controller, in your smart shunt, in all the devices you have from your mobile phone, wherever you are. So the communication is not going only from the Raspi to Victron, but it goes back from Victron to your Raspi, which then controls your devices, your Victron devices. And of course you can also change the language of the Venus OS running on the Raspberry to whatever you like and understand. So to connect the Raspberry to your Wi-Fi, go a little bit further down to Ethernet or Wi-Fi settings. And this will now search for available Wi-Fis in your area. And I will connect to the... It has now connected to the Wi-Fi. You can see the Wi-Fi symbol there. And I can now disconnect the network cable from the Raspberry. And congratulations again. This is pretty much everything you need to configure to get started. There is of course a lot of more stuff in there, but we don't need this to make it work. This is more like customization, which you can do later on down the track. But to start, this is all you need to do. Okay, we have now successfully installed the Raspberry Pi, have configured everything inside, and now we need to connect it to the VRM portal. We type in VRM Victron, and this brings us to the VRM portal of Victron, and this is how it looks like. So if you want to try this out first, you can try a demo. You can see test environments they have installed for guests, so they can play around with all the settings and see what's actually going on. You can also explore the world. And you could potentially find the off-grid garage in there as well. So with the VRM you can actually share your data anonymously, so they can have a look at your installation, can see what kind of energy usage you have, but of course there are no personal information in this whole setup. Here at the top right you can register on the VRM portal for free. I have already done this, so I just log in. And now I can already see the off-grid garage installation because I've used this portal before. If you are logging in the first time, you won't see anything in there. You click on the Add Installation, and now you can see all the GX and internet connected devices from Victron Energy you can actually use to make this work. We don't use any of these. We've got our Raspberry set up now for this purpose. So we just collect on the color control GX. And it is now asking for the VRM portal ID number. This is the secret number passcode I talked about before. So we go back to our venus.local website, onto our Raspberry, hit enter, go all the way down to find the VRM portal. And unfortunately we cannot copy, I think. I'll just type this in quickly. And then we click on request access, and here you can also name your installation. You've got your VRM portal ID again. Real-time updates, I would say you tick this one if you have an unlimited internet connection. You can change your little picture in there as well if you're into these things. And because I was connected to the VRM portal via the Raspberry this morning, we've got some data already in there. You wouldn't have anything showing up in there so far, which brings us now to the next step. We need to connect our Victron Gear to the Raspberry. So, and the next step is to prepare your cables here. So we take out the JST cable and untüdel this wire here. Untüdel is a very German word. Okay, so this is what you have. Okay, I think I just take the footage I filmed already last night about how to connect these cables together. So here it comes. So what we can see now here is this is the USB to a serial adapter. It is an active, there are active components inside, which translates the USB connection to a serial connection. On the other side we've got wires with 4 different colors coming out. And you can see the colors are exactly the same as these ones. Well, it is now very, very tempting to connect just these colors to these colors, right? But unfortunately you cannot do this. This little plug here needs a certain configuration, a certain order where the cables are plugged in. And my good old friend Jason, who sent me this amazing email, also sent a photo of this configuration. So I didn't have to do any research to figure it out, and I'm more than happy to pass his information on to you here in this video. So I'll show you quickly how to configure this little plug correctly. So you can see the 4 colors we have: green, white, red and black. What we need to do is we need to take them all out of this plug and rearrange them from the color. And Jason has already figured this out, so I'm not going into any details. The main reason is we don't need the red one at all. We just need the negative, which is black, and the other one is TX and RX. RX is receiving, TX is sending data. You want to take a sharp knife here and go under this plastic cover, just like this. Lift it up a little bit, and then you can pull the cable just out. Very easy to do. Okay, and here comes the fun part now. So this is the cable, this is the black cable, and you can see this little hook at the end here. The hook needs to go down. So you need to get this down, and this is the most... And this is our first cable on from the right hand side. And you plug this in, and then it actually clicks in. The next one we need, again, hook down and push the green one. And the last one is the white one we need. And that's it. So this took only 2 minutes. And guess what? Because Jason has figured this out already, we now can just connect the cables as per their colors. So we can connect the white one to the white one, the black one to the black one, and the green one to the green one. And this is all we need to do to connect our Victron devices to our Raspberry Pi now. Okay, and now that we have connected this all together, we can actually go to our last and final step and connect our Victron Gear to our Raspi. So to power the Raspi down, you just simply disconnect your charger cable. I also quickly show you the case which I have bought. So the Raspberry Pi goes in the case. We pop on the side panels and pop on the lid, and we've got a nice little enclosure which is protecting our electronics, and everything, even the SD card, is still accessible from the outside. There's our power input, these are the USB ports we will use, and there's the network port if you haven't connected it to Wi-Fi. Okay, and here it is. So what I will do is, I've got some Velcro strips here as well. I put them on the bottom of the Raspi and then put the whole Raspi here in the electrical enclosure, probably down here somewhere, so I can still access the USB ports on the back, and everything is connected in this enclosure then. So I temporarily connect everything back up here. So we use the power cable again. And then the next step is to plug in our self-made JST connectors into the Victron Gear. They all have these little, there you can see it, VE Direct port. This is where the GST connector goes in. And then you plug in your USB cable to the Raspberry Pi. So I have now connected just the East Roof solar charge controller. Okay, so we have now successfully plugged in our first solar charge controller to the Raspi, and we can see here on the venus.local website on the Raspberry Pi, it shows already the photovoltaic charger with 880 watts into the battery. We don't get any other information at the moment, no battery status, no state of charge, nothing, no inverter information, because these devices are not being plugged in. Okay, so here's our second solar charge controller, where we just made the cable for, and we plug this in just above the other one. And Jason actually pointed out that, look at these, it is gapping a little bit here. There's a bit of gap in between and a bit of tension on the USB ports, because these plugs here, they are so thick. They've got the electronic inside. So it's probably better to use an extension cable first and then plug these ones in. We actually have a USB extension cable here plugged in to the VE Direct cable in the battery box. This is all just temporary stuff to test this all out. Okay, so we plug in the smart shunt now into the Raspi, and we should now get information about the battery status as well. Just in a second here it pops up 42% state of charge we have, but still no information because we haven't plugged in the inverter yet. There's one more, and this plugs in here. If you have more than 4 Victron devices, you can of course just install a USB hub and extend this to, I don't know, is there a limit? Further devices. And now we can see on the website we are discharging the battery with 23 watts at the moment. This is our AC load here for the computer and lamp lights and everything. So cool. Okay, let's have a quick look at the website, at the VRM portal. And now we can see everything is connected and installed and working together. We can still see the state of charge here. The PV chargers are kicking in with 1.5 kilowatt at the moment. The AC load is 0 because not much is running here. And we also have the statistics down here from today. We've got 0.7 kilowatt hours generated already. Because I had Raspberry disconnected for over an hour now, this information of course is now missing because it wasn't able to log any information. Okay guys, this concludes our installation, configuration and setup of the Raspberry Pi B3B, including the installation of Venus OS from Victron, a little bit of configuration for our Wi-Fi, and well, now we are online. We are charging happily. It is 24.7 amps outside. I'm very happy about that. And of course, once you're logged into the VRM portal here, there's much more on the left hand side what you can configure and change and customize. But I'm not going into all these details right now. We will explore all these functions later on down the track in the future videos when I show you more of these options here in the VRM portal. As always guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope this was not too technical for some of you guys. If you have any questions, need any further assistance or help with setting this up, have any problems, please put all the information down in the description box below so everyone can see them and can jump in and help you out to set this all up. I think it is totally worth doing it even if you have only one Victron device, regardless what it is. Get a Raspberry Pi. This whole set, the Raspberry, the enclosure, all the cables, was less than $100 US including shipping. I linked this all down below. There will be a dedicated web page on my website just for the Raspberry Pi setup, and have screenshots in there and also a link to this video here of course. And there also will be a full part list what you actually need. In terms of power supply for the Raspberry, it needs a 5 volt 1 amp good quality power supply. You can buy the original one from Raspberry Pi. It costs about $20 or so. It's a 2.5 amp 5 volt power supply. In my eyes, it's not needed. Any quality phone charger which delivers at least 1 amp consistently is able to power the Raspberry without any issues. I've got this running now for over 3 weeks here without any problems from a normal mobile phone charger. Alright guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support here on the channel. Thanks for all the beer you have donated so far. And I guess stay charged, stay safe, keep monitoring, and we shall see us again in the next video coming out very soon. Thanks again guys, see you then, bye bye.